it is almost inevitably the little things that have the biggest impact. There is a story, possibly apocryphal, that I heard when I was a teenager about a woman who, in the early 1970s, wore a pantsuit to a dinner at a fancy restaurant. Now, at this time, there were many places that would decline to allow a woman to enter unless she was wearing a dress, and this fancy restaurant was one of those places. Also at this time, a pantsuit often consisted of a short tunic or mini dress paired with a pair of voluminous bell-bottomed pants. Back to the fancy restaurant. The woman who wanted to be seated was told by the maitre d' that he couldn't allow her to enter while she was wearing pants. The woman smiled, shrugged, and, quickly and discreetly, stepped out of her pants, handed them to the maitre d' and asked him to check them, smoothed her mini dress over her hips, and strode into the restaurant to a table where her dinner party was waiting for her while every other woman in the restaurant applauded. In 1998, the late Queen Elizabeth II had a similar small moment. She was entertaining the then Crown Prince Abdullah of Saudi Arabia at Balmoral Castle, and he wanted a tour of the 50,000-acre estate. Now, at this time, women were banned from driving in the prince's country, and in spite of decades of protests and the ongoing arrests of women driving activists, it wouldn't be until 2018 that the ban on women driving would be lifted. But in 1998, when the royal Land Rovers pulled up in front of the castle, the prince was instructed to take the passenger seat. Then, to his surprise, the Queen got in the driver's seat, turned the ignition, and started to drive away. This sort of gesture wasn't a one-time revolt. Let's take a quick flashback to 1961 when Queen Elizabeth visited Ghana. In order to prevent the country's president from cozying up to the Soviet bloc and leave the Commonwealth, and in order to underscore her commitment to the country, she shared a dance with its president, Kwame Nkrumah. Remember, this was in 1961. The image of a white woman dancing with a black man, not to mention the ruler of an empire dancing with one of her subjects, was, let's say, rivetingly unusual. When the Queen passed away, Ghana's current president was the first head of state to respond to her death. He said, "We shall miss her inspiring presence, her calm, her steadiness, and above all, her great love and belief in the higher purpose of the Commonwealth of Nations and in its capacity to be a force for good in the world." Without saying a word, Queen Elizabeth made her points, and she didn't even need to take her pants off. Here at the Authentic, we think that makes the late Queen a feminist and a badass.